There is a small moment, almost invisible yet deeper than any words can express. You are breathing, but that breath isn't free. It's not as light as a summer breeze. It carries an invisible weight, as if each inhale is a preparation for an unexpected blow. You try to breathe, but every breath feels forced, like your body is not allowed to rest, not even for a second. Do you know this feeling? A feeling so familiar you almost believe it's the only way to survive? A way of breathing not to live, but to merely exist in a world that always demands you to be strong, always ready, always perfect. But in that silence, in that moment when everyone thinks you are resting, you are still tense, down to every cell in your body. You are not just tired from what you have to do, but from trying to hold everything together, to never let anyone see the fragility inside. You may have thought you're just exhausted because life is tough, or because of work pressure, family responsibilities, or the chaos around you. But the truth runs deeper. You are tired not because life is heavy, but because you have held on too tightly. You have carried too long, gripping everything as if letting go would make everything fall apart. You are not lazy, broken, or weak. You are simply a tired human one, carrying the exhaustion of a soul always awake, always alert, yet never taught how to let go. You have lived in a world where, since childhood, you were taught to push harder, to endure, to be strong, and to be independent. But has anyone ever taught you how to relax, how to let go without fear? Has anyone told you it's safe to not always be the one in control, the one who leads? Because no one taught you these things, you fell into a trap you built yourself. A trap of constant control, where every emotion, every word, every action must be carefully watched, as if one slip means everything collapses. And you have believed this for so long that you forgot there could be another way. A way where you don't have to be the one balancing the whole world. A way where you don't have to be the strong one all the time, so strong that no one can see the weakness inside. You wonder why you always feel drained, even when joy feels like another heavy burden. Why rest days don't restore you but make you feel lost in silence. Why moments alone don't bring peace but a confusing mix of loneliness and chaos. There is a silent truth no one tells you. You are not tired because life is full of challenges, but because you have carried too much. Too many emotions, too many responsibilities, too many versions of yourself depending on who you are with. You have become a relentless overseer of your own feelings and actions. You don't live, you watch every moment to make sure everything is safe, everyone is happy, everything is under control. And that, truly, is not the life you were born to live. It's emotional surveillance, a version of you that you no longer recognize. You learned to hold on tight so you wouldn't break, so you wouldn't fall. That was once necessary, it saved you from darkness. But now it has become chains, a burden growing heavier each day without anyone teaching you how to remove them. You are extraordinary for having held everything together. But now, you need to learn how to let go, how to allow your soul to breathe, and that moment of starting to relax, to realize you don't have to carry it all, that is the first step on a healing journey. There was a time when you were proud to be the one who never cracked. You were the quiet strength in the room, the steady presence everyone leaned on without asking if you needed support yourself. You became the rock, solid and unmoving, the one who carries others so they don't have to. But have you noticed how rocks do not bend? They do not breathe. They do not soften. They simply stand still while everything presses against them. And over time, that stillness begins to fracture quietly inside. No one sees those fractures. No one asks if the rock needs rest. No one hears the silent cracks forming beneath the surface, because you have become the dependable one, the unshakable one, the one who keeps going no matter what. This role, while admirable, has its cost. A cost that wears you down in a way that feels invisible and unheard. You might smile and show up every day, but inside you are carrying stories and feelings that have never been shared, never fully acknowledged. You might have forgotten what it feels like to simply be without the heavy weight of responsibility pressing down on your chest. To feel supported not because you are broken, but because you are willing to share the load, to invite someone else into your world, not as a savior but as a companion. This is not about quitting or running away from your life. It is about unlearning the idea that your tight grip is the only thing holding everything together. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to loosen your hold just a little. to stop monitoring your emotions, your words, your every move as if the world will collapse if you do not intervene, to stop rehearsing conversations, to stop overthinking every possible outcome. When you stop trying to control everything, you create a space, a quiet, fragile space where you can begin to notice what is really happening inside you. You begin to sense the tension that has lived in your muscles for years. You become aware of how quickly your body scans for danger, even in moments of safety. And suddenly, without your armor, you may feel lost. You may wonder, who am I without the role of the strong one? What is left when I am not the fixer, the protector, the reliable one? Here is the gentle truth. What remains is you, the real you, the part of you that exists without performance or pretense, the part of you that does not have all the answers and does not need to. When you give this version of yourself even a small amount of space, a little room to breathe without expectation or demand, you begin to touch something rare and beautiful: peace. Not the kind of peace that comes as a prize after endless struggle, but a quiet, steady peace that feels like coming home. Because peace does not arrive when you control everything. It arrives when you realize that control was never your true safety. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying everything on your own. It means you trust that life can unfold without your constant interference. And in this trust, you find something unexpected: softness. A softness that invites you to exhale fully, to let others see you, not as the strong one you have been trained to be, but as your whole, vulnerable self. This softness is not weakness. It is your nervous system learning to feel safe again. It is the deep wisdom of your soul remembering that you can be alert and relaxed at the same time. You can care without being exhausted. Letting go is not a single moment. It is a messy, gradual, and sometimes scary process, because when you have gripped life so tightly for so long, releasing that grip can feel like losing control. But this is not losing yourself. This is learning how to live fully without pretending to be unbreakable. Letting go is not a sudden burst of bravery. It is a quiet courage that unfolds softly, often hidden beneath layers of fear and resistance. It whispers in the small moments when you decide to stop holding so tightly, when you choose to breathe instead of brace, to be present instead of preparing for the worst. It might begin with a tiny act, closing your eyes for a moment and feeling your shoulders drop just a little, or saying no to one more thing, even if it feels uncomfortable, or simply allowing yourself to sit still with an emotion you've been trying to push away. This quiet courage is not about making grand gestures. It's about the gentle, steady decision to trust yourself enough to meet whatever comes, not perfectly, not prepared, but authentically. You might notice how unfamiliar it feels at first. Your mind may rush to fill the silence with worries. Your body might itch with restlessness. You may question if this softness means you're losing your edge, your strength. But what if strength is not the absence of vulnerability? What if real strength is found in the willingness to be seen as you are, without armor, without masks? In those moments when you loosen your grip, you begin to notice the beauty that was always there, quietly waiting beneath the surface. You notice the way sunlight filters through leaves outside your window, painting gentle patterns on the floor. You hear the faint sound of your own breath, steady, alive, grounding you in the present. You begin to realize that not everything needs to be controlled, fixed, or managed. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give yourself is permission to simply be. There is a sacred space inside you that longs for this freedom. The freedom to experience life with openness and curiosity rather than tension and fear. Letting go is a practice of returning home to that space again and again, even when the world outside feels chaotic or uncertain. It is an invitation to come back to yourself, the you who is whole, worthy, and enough, exactly as you are. And as you learn to rest in this truth, you may discover that the world does not crumble when you release your grip. Instead, it shifts in subtle ways. You begin to respond to life instead of reacting. You move with intention instead of urgency. There is a gentle rhythm that emerges when you stop trying to force everything to happen on your terms. A rhythm that allows for pauses, for breath, for softness. This rhythm is not a weakness. It is the song of your soul remembering its own grace. There is a certain kind of exhaustion that lives quietly beneath the surface. It is not loud or dramatic. It does not announce itself with obvious signs. Instead, it settles deep within your bones, like a shadow that stretches longer with each passing day. This exhaustion comes from carrying invisible burdens, the weight of all the unspoken feelings, all the silent compromises, all the "I'm fine" smiles you offer, even when you are anything but. You have carried so much for so long. You have become the keeper of other people's worries, the solver of problems no one else notices, the steady presence when everything else feels fragile. But in the process, you have forgotten to carry yourself. You have forgotten how to feel what you feel without judgment. You have forgotten how to rest without guilt. You have forgotten how to be with your own heart in a way that is kind and patient. Sometimes you might catch a glimpse of this truth in the quiet moments, a sudden wave of sadness, a tightness in your chest, a tear that comes without warning, and yet you push it away. You tell yourself there is no time for this now, that you must keep going, keep managing, keep holding on. But what if holding on is not the same as caring? What if true care is found in allowing yourself to be soft, vulnerable, and real? The invisible burdens weigh heavy because they are carried alone, without space or witness. But imagine what might happen if you began to share that weight, not with the whole world, not in grand declarations, but in small, honest moments with someone who truly listens. Imagine how it might feel to finally breathe into those parts of you that have been cramped and closed off. Imagine letting someone else carry a piece of the load, just for a while, and feeling the relief that comes with that simple act of trust. This is not weakness. This is healing. Healing does not mean fixing everything at once. It means beginning to notice where you have been holding on too tight and choosing, ever so gently, to let go. It means giving yourself permission to feel, to rest, to simply be. And as you do, you may find that your exhaustion begins to soften. Not because the burdens vanish, but because your relationship to them changes. You are no longer carrying them alone. You are no longer holding everything together by sheer force. You are learning to lean into life not as a struggle to survive, but as a dance to be experienced. In the quiet moments when the world slows down, there is a gentle invitation waiting for you, an invitation to stop holding on so tightly. You have lived so long with the weight of responsibility pressing on your shoulders, believing that if you loosen your grip, everything will crumble. But what if, instead, everything you fear falling apart is simply making space for something new? Letting go is not about losing control or giving up. It is about trusting yourself enough to rest in uncertainty, to be present with what is, without needing to fix or manage it all. It is the tender courage to say, "I am tired," without shame, to lean into your own softness, even when it feels unfamiliar or fragile. This softness is not weakness. It is the quiet strength of a soul learning to breathe freely again. When you stop trying to carry every worry, every outcome, every version of yourself, you create room to feel, to heal, to connect more deeply with who you really are. And in that space, peace begins to grow. Not the kind of peace that comes from having everything figured out, but the kind that settles in your bones when you allow yourself to simply be. So, here is your permission to release the tight hold on life's pressures, to trust that you can be whole even when you are not in control, to remember that your worth is not measured by how much you carry, but by the gentle presence of your true self. Take a slow breath. Feel the weight lift just a little. You are enough, always. And in that knowing, may you find your way back home to yourself,